The management of this theater thanks you for your patronage.
Whoa.
The moment our fellow geeks, dweebs, nerds, and other unfortunates have been fervently waiting for has finally arrived. It's time for TMI, Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerf Herder Chandler, Jim Kaiju Baker, and Christina Yojimbo Henry. You can continue. And now, let's get on with the show. Here is TMI.
Alrighty. So what are we talking about today?
Let's just bring this up now. We talked Monsters at Work a few weeks ago when we talked about Monsters, Inc. We didn't really know for sure if you'd be seeing Mike and Sully, right, or how often you'd be seeing them. They are in every episode. There's 6 or 7 episodes now.
It sounds like they probably recorded all those episodes in one sitting. John Goodman has like no delineation in his cadence whatsoever. He's just like this is a paycheck at this point.
And they're not the main characters. They're only in the background at best. It's not a Pixar endeavor. Interestingly, it's Disney's Monsters at Work.
Well, you know what? I mean, I watched the first episode last night with the missus, and we both sat there. It's so funny because my son was out, and his friends came over to get something from my house. Now, these kids just barge into my house. 2 grown adults sitting on the couch in the dark, watching Pixar cartoon. and they never even questioned it. But I don't like the design of the main character. Who's the one that thought he was going to be the scare? The horns.
Yeah, I've seen all 7 episodes and I still don't know this guy's name.
Trevor,
is that it?
Something like that. There's another character in there, and he looks like a big furry sloth, but he's got one eye and like a big tongue or something. Big nose.
Yes,
he's got a big nose. He's a cool looking design. Mindy Kaling plays one of these characters.
Yep.
And I'm trying to explain to my wife who that is, but I got her confused with Mindy Cohen from Facts of Life.
From Facts of Life? Oh, because you've never watched The Office? That was her big break, was her role on The Office.
Yeah, Mindy I never got into The Office, but for some reason the name was screwing me up. And I was thinking that it was Mindy Cohen because she would do Velma's voice on Scooby-Doo there for a while.
Yes.
So I'm like, no, it's her. And I'm looking up, this is not her at all. So I was misinformed. Spreading false rumors.
Tyler is the name.
Oh, Tyler. What kind of name is that for a monster?
Tyler with an O, not with an E, I might add.
Tyler. Why did they get rid of Roz just to replace her with a cheaper looking version, but the same voice?
With the same voice. Yeah, that is. Well, remember at the end, Roz was like the president.
That was right.
So they had to write her out of the show, but still in some way, shape or form incorporate her. So it's the next best thing. I
like the idea that it's literally the next day and that people are like, did I just lose my job?
It just concentrates on these characters that are in the background that are kind of like the maintenance workers. It doesn't really give you that flavor of going into a door every week, like the original gave you. So that's what I was looking for, and I'm a little disappointed with that.
This is almost like Marvel had a series and a cartoon series for a while, and it was supposed to be a TV show, and it never came to fruition, called Damage Control. And it was all about these people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that do cleanup after all these epic superhero battles.
Right. Well, that I think was the starting premise of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? That's really what their purpose was. Other than fighting Hydra, mop up and keep everything under wraps.
Yeah, no, these guys were like literally like maintenance workers, fixing broken pipes and, sweeping the streets of debris.
Like Michael Keaton's team in the first Spider-Man in Homecoming.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
They were outside contractors.
They were third-party contractors. Yes. So, yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'll be back. They kept the theme, so I was happy.
As you give it a chance, they introduce more and more characters that you're used to seeing. I'm not going to say any more than that.
And I did share on our Facebook page the thoughts on the first episode of Marvel's What If. And we got no response whatsoever. Nobody cared. Nobody cared enough to actually chime in, trying to get that our chat room going again.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the first episode.
I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. The thing is that isn't this the whole point of the multiverse kind of things that we're setting up all these characters? Like now it's almost like a what if. It doesn't matter because it's now going to be out there.
Well, yeah, I think what they've established with Loki is that this series, What If, is actually happening somewhere else on an alternate timeline.
And I will say, I absolutely adore the artwork. I
thought
it was phenomenal. And the fact that they're bringing in, I mean, I said this at the top of the show before we actually hit record, but it makes you lament the fact that Haley Atwell was not able to continue as Agent Carter on that very short-lived show.
Yeah, I really like that show, even more so than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It only lasted 2 seasons, right? That's it.
Yeah, and they were only I think 6 episodes. Yeah, it was a really truncated. But we also got Paul Bettany as Jarvis.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I loved it, and I really liked this. And obviously, it had the same beats as Captain. You know, there was a joke where Bucky almost falls off the train. And she saves him. He's like, you almost ripped my arm off because it's so stupid. But, you know, you're waiting for that stuff.
Not only is it, what if Peggy Carter got the serum, but you also get Steve Rogers as the first Iron Man.
Yes. No, that was a shock to me. That was great. These are like 40 minutes. They're like 30, 40 minutes. There was nice action beats. You know, you got your Red Skull. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was great.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, so we'll see what next week. Once a week, I guess we're dropping these. So that's pretty much that's what we've been doing in between actually watching movies for this show.
It's watching more stuff.
Well, that's the thing is that I feel, especially lately, we've been doubling down. We're coming into vacation season and we're trying not to miss a beat. So I feel like every time I watch TV, it's for the show. It's not just for me to unwind and relax. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Muppet movie. I could watch it endlessly, but I was forced to take notes while I was watching it. And it does make for a different experience.
Yes, it does.
So anyways, let's get into it then, because we do have 2 movies, one brand new one and one old one.
So, all right, Free Guy.
Yes.
Now, we already know sort of what you're getting with a Ryan Reynolds movie. Now, I know going into this, brought my son PG-13. This is not going to be a Deadpool level R-rated movie. More family friendly. As with any PG-13, they feel the need to use that F-bomb that they are allotted. And you hear it here. A little bit more profanity than I'm normally comfortable with bringing my son to a film. But he absolutely, he loved Free Guy. He loved it.
I think we all did. I'm gonna tip my hand right now.
Yeah, it was exhilarating for me. And I really was surprised. At how much I liked it.
Yeah, no, this is a very enjoyable movie. So what I always tell my kids from day one, which is you can hear it, but if it comes out of your mouth, then we have an issue. So as far as naughty words go, and of course, now they're all 21 and 19 and they have potty mouths. So
yeah, and when I say more than I'm comfortable with, that's exactly what I mean. More that I'm comfortable with. He's probably not comfortable.
All
he's
his
heard
friends
these
are
before.
throwing these around. Yeah. So let's get into. Well, do you want to do some news first?
Sure.
Wait. What are we pairing up with Free Guy?
We are
all over the place.
This is. I know.
We have a format. We chose not to stick with it.
Talk about on the nose. Maybe a little too obvious, but hey, we haven't talked about this movie yet in almost 200 episodes. So The Matrix. The Matrix.
1999. The Matrix. Cutting edge of Y2K.
Yeah. And let me point out, 99. So it is the original, not the sequels that we're talking about.
No, we will not be talking about the sequels, although we do have a 4th one coming. And so I feel the need. I will say this before we get into it. On HBO Max. Yes, it's on HBO Max.
Yes, it is.
I watched it.
I watched
4K, 4K, and it is very impressive. It shows its age, but I need to go back and watch the other 2 because I dismissed them wholeheartedly at the time. Like I walked out of the theater after the 2nd one and said the 3rd one is going to have to be so good to explain everything what I just saw. And it did not do that. If anything, I think it just muddied the waters. So let's talk a little news first. All righty, here we go. So Free Guy, theatrical release only.
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that this was technically a 20th Century Fox movie. So things were in place, and Disney was not allowed, when they acquired Fox, to drop it on their streaming service. They were obligated to put it into theaters, and it'll go to HBO before it goes to Disney Plus.
Really?
Yes. So I'm thinking moving forward, that won't be the case, obviously. But because this kind of falls under that old contract.
Yeah.
But we talked last week. Clifford the Big Red Dog has been bumped out of his schedule because of now there's new concerns with Delta variant and all this other crap going on. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, has been pulled from its September 24th release date, and it has been moved back to October 15th.
Really?
So, yeah.
Is that going to make a big difference?
I don't know. It's such a knee-jerk reaction because now everyone's, the big eye right now is on Shang-Chi. Is Disney going to pull the plug? Are they going to, at the last minute, skittish out and drop it on Disney Plus?
Now, have we gotten confirmation that it is truly a theatrical release only? Or
no, this is the problem, which is the marketing states Shang-Chi is in theaters. It does not say exclusively, so they have that window, and that's where. Yeah. But it's 2 weeks out. We're literally 2 weeks out. If you're gonna do this, you gotta do it. But people are already mad that some of these are theatrical only. Why aren't you just dropping everything on streaming? So people are already annoyed. People are annoyed if it goes to streaming, and people are annoyed when it goes directly to theater.
Well, I think the only people that are truly annoyed that it's going to streaming are A, people that don't have Disney Plus, and B, the actors that are financially involved in the movies. I think everybody else would rather watch it at home, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. But I know. So that's interesting. And we're going to have to just stay on top of this because once again, even though we're like, this is it, everything is locked in and now we're moving forward again. And now it's like, no, train's coming to a halt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we sat down and worked out our schedule based on release dates up until December. And now if Venom backs up a month.
Oh, this is just deja vu for last year, right? We're no newbies to this process.
No, so. because now you're going to butt right into Eternals in November, so you're not going to give it that window, and then Spider-Man's right behind it.
We won't be alive the rate that they're going to see the end of Phase 4.
Phase 4 is a phase of end of my life. So go back to that lawsuit, because that does play heavily into one of the other news items, which is this whole lawsuit of Scarlett Johansson suing Disney because she feels she lost out on money on the quote unquote box office receipts by dropping Black Widow on Disney Plus. Disney Plus personally attacked her. People are now completely divided over this in the Hollywood community, that this is so unprofessional of Disney to personally attack her. And there's all kinds of backdoor things where, if Iger was still in charge, he never would have done this. He never would have allowed one of his players to sue the studio. Feige's pissed. So it's ugly. But one of the things we mentioned was the fact that Emma Stone was looking to kind of follow suit because they pulled the same thing with Cruella. They dropped it in theaters. I watched it in the theater. You watch it on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure her contract did not allow for that. So was she going to jump on board? Apparently not, because she is signed a deal and will be in Cruella too. So I don't know if all of a sudden, studios and agents are getting together and be like, listen, here, we're going to throw you an extra 20 right now, just to let you know it may or may not show up on Disney Plus.
That brings up an interesting point, because Scarlett Johansson as far as the rest of the world knows, is done with the character at this point.
Correct.
So she doesn't have anything really at risk, So
this right here is where, well, I mean, could you be labeled as difficult? Well, we were going to hire her, but look at how she's going after the studio now. I don't know. And you're right. This is it for her. That was her swan song. So,
but as you said, Emma Stone still is on the hook for some more movies, so she doesn't want to upset the apple cart, I'm sure.
No. I find that interesting. So Hollywood Reporter is stating that Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Do you remember this movie? Spawn?
Yes.
You remember the comic book?
I remember.
Okay. Now has a writer, Brian Tucker, who I guess penned this movie Broken City. I don't know what this is, but I guess it starred Russell Crowe. So this movie's moving forward. Blumhouse is producing, and McFarlane is set to direct this thing.
I predict box office failure or straight to streaming.
Oh, if they do it, well, Blumhouse has done such a great job of kind of reinvigorating that horror. Like they're really leaning into some of this stuff.
I remember Spawn, but who else does? Spawn has not been a viable character.
Yeah, well, in the comic community, this character is still out there, even though you can say it was nothing more than a Batman ripoff at the time. And I probably at one point in my life owned the first 100+ issues. The fact that it's still going, I don't know what this character is doing, if it's even still the same character. But Jamie Foxx and Jeremy Renner were at one point attached to this, whether they still are or not. I think if they can tap into this horror stuff, if they can make it, listen, you got this, what we got? Candyman coming out here soon. People like that stuff.
They certainly do.
It'll be a horror / superhero.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, McFarlane. Prove me wrong.
Exactly. I don't know if he's got the chops to direct it.
Yeah, that's out of left field, right?
Yeah. He's been writing this book. He's been controlling this book for years. So.
But as a film director, that's like Stephen King on Maximum Overdrive.
We all got to start somewhere. I'm not going to shoot it down yet, but
not going to shoot it down yet.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all the news I have, unless you came across anything. There's actually, that's not true. There's one more news item, but I'm going to save it for the back end of Free Guy.
Okay. So Free Guy, again, showing our hand. I can't say enough good things about this. This was a really positive experience to go to the theater for a movie like this. It's the kind of movie you want to see in a theater with an audience that are laughing together at all the jokes.
Yes.
And there was one instance in particular, and instance I mean.
I know exactly
that the audience went nuts.
Lost their minds.
Yes.
Now, you speak audience. So because in the past, the last 4 movies I've seen in the theater, maybe 2 or 3 people. I went Thursday night, 8:30 showing, and there was 30+ people in my theater. I actually felt a little claustrophobic. I'm like, there's too many people.
Really? Well, I went Saturday morning, 12:30 3D showing, and there was probably 3 other families in the theater.
Families, interesting. I had a lot of teens.
A lot of teens?
I had a lot of there was a group of probably about 12 boys all together, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to end well. They were well behaved. I have to give them credit. And this is me making blind judgments just because they're teenage white boys.
Maybe you should bring like Hershey's Kisses. You can hand them out at the end if they're well behaved. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. And then you would get immediately mugged after attempting to hand out the candy.
You want to take candy from a creepy middle-aged guy? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I did not get popcorn though, but I did see they had the buckets back. So you can't tell me there's a friggin' global
bucket shortage. It's just because Sal in the back room forgot to order them that week.
Yeah,
I think.
Pretty much. That was blowing smoke up my buttocks. That was, come on, global shortage. Okay, whatever. So let's get into this. Sean Levy, I have nothing but the utmost respect for.
We just talked about this guy a couple weeks ago.
But it's amazing because I started, and I keep going back to Hollywood Reporter, and the only reason is because I get a free subscription. So I read it, and there's this great article with him. This guy's got like 15+ properties in development at Netflix right now. All of them. He made some like massive deal, but you never would know it because he's just kind of like this low-key, quiet guy, and he just kind of does his thing.
On top of that, Real Steel has been on Netflix, and people have been rediscovering it. So it's like he's Mr. Netflix now.
Is that because we reviewed it?
Oh, I would love to think so.
You think that?
I would love to think so.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw his name, I don't think I really was aware that he directed this going into it. But as soon as I saw his name, I'm like, okay, now this is going to be interesting.
It is interesting because, you know, there's certain directors that you just feel, you know, have a look and a feel about them. And this guy is, I don't want to say vanilla, but he's like really middle of the road. You know, I think his big breakout was the night at the museum. Just a very family friendly. He's executive producer on Stranger Things, so he's been attached to that from the get go. And apparently, him and Ryan Reynolds have just bonded to the point where he uprooted his family and moved them out to Manhattan, so they live literally across the street from each other now.
I wonder if he's going to be involved in the next Deadpool in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think this guy is meant to be a Deadpool director, though.
Maybe not a director, producer, writer. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, speaking of writers, Zach Penn and Matt Lieberman both get credit for this. And I think that this, and I will say Zach Penn also wrote the screenplay for Ready Player One, which is very evident.
Yes, yes, it is.
There's a couple.
There's so many homages here going on. Ready Player One, the obvious, right? Yeah. There's shades of They Live. When I say shades.
Do you want to know what a missed opportunity that was to pair that up with this, just based on the sunglasses?
On that alone. That alone.
Would have been brilliant. No.
And Wally. I got a lot of Wally.
Wally. Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought of
that whole thing where Antoine reboots and he forgets, and it's the magic kiss that brings him back.
Crap, you are right. I went right for the Truman Show.
Oh,
this is so obvious. At the end, where all the crowd is just cheering him on as he's making his way to the end of the simulation. And the fact that he's oblivious that he's inside this TV show / video game.
And talk about what we did actually pair this with. We get another magic kiss in the Matrix. So yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, well, apparently. There's not even a button for that, by the way. I just kissed him. There's not even a button for that.
Well, maybe if you get close enough, the game allows you to, you know?
Is that what happens?
Perhaps.
Grand Theft Auto. This is pretty much, I guess this Free City is
you could probably do more than kiss in Grand Theft Auto.
That's what I was implying. If I get close enough, do your clothes just fall off? Like, what's going on? I also got, you ready for this? The Lego movie. He's Emmett.
Yes, I read some comparisons between this and the Lego movie. Yeah,
I came up that all by myself, though.
Congratulations. I'm sticking with Wally. I am sticking with Wally.
Good. All right, fair enough. Yeah. So what do we have? Ryan Reynolds as Guy.
Blue shirt guy.
Blue shirt guy. Yeah.
But literally his name is Guy.
And his buddy's name is Buddy.
Yeah.
Well played.
So it's pretty obvious, what the setup is here. If you've seen a trailer or anything, he is a non-playable character in the NPC. Background in this game.
There's a lot of video game jargon and in jokes. Most probably went over my head, especially when you started getting into like some of these YouTubers who had cameos and whatnot.
Yeah, they're actual YouTubers. I would have had no idea. My son, however, is familiar with these people, and that's the jargon, like Skin, and that's why he loved it. It was like speaking to him, his language.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know just enough about it to be dangerous, but I don't think you need to know every little detail about how a video game is made or maintained.
No, to enjoy this, not at all. Yeah,
there are some questions though where you're like, well, wait a minute. But that's neither here nor there. You just go along with the ride.
So the game that Guy lives in is called Free City. And again, he is a non-playable character, an NPC that's just in the background, and he's abused on a daily basis, but he loves it. He eats it up because that's his purpose for being.
That's his reason for being.
Yeah.
The montage where he wakes up every morning, he says good morning to his goldfish. He puts on his blue shirt. He orders the same coffee every day. Goes to the bank and gets robbed every day.
Now this is the most obvious correlation right here with the Lego movie.
Yep. And he's just happy-go-lucky. He's just, don't have a good day. Have a great day.
He gets robbed every day at the bank by, some random player that's playing the game.
Well, that's the thing.
They don't realize they're in a game. They don't know that these are players.
No,
it's just,
except for the fact that as he's walking to work, you see helicopters are crashing, planes are flying by, people are parachuting. And he's just oblivious to it all. At one point, one of the guys gets thrown out a window because he's being robbed. Hey, Bob, how are you today? Kind of a thing.
Yeah, but it's another non-playable character, and they're all friends with each other. They do not interact with the players who are the sunglasses people, because that's how you can differentiate.
Yeah. So the sunglass players are actual avatars of players of the game.
And this is one of my favorite aspects of this, is when you kind of pull back that curtain and you see in the real world who's playing this game, and it's kids that have these like really threatening muscular avatars in the game. And you see when Guy is actually becoming self-aware in the bank and he's questioning his reality, and he stands up to the robber at one point, you see it's a little girl that's playing the game, and she's like, "Smoke this, mother!" And they and they cut it before she's.
But that's that's the hardcore level of it, which is that's what plays into Ready Player One, where you have these avatars, these characters that don't look anything like the person that's actually playing them.
And of course, we have a Channing Tatum avatar running around in here.
There's a bunch of these guys.
Yeah.
Most of them ended up just doing like voice acting, but Hugh Jackman's in this. Like you said, Channing Tatum, which is a little more obvious. But Krasinski and Dwayne Johnson and Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. And I didn't even know. Because again, as you said,
stuff I wasn't picking up on.
Besides Channing Tatum, who's in the movie, these others are just voice acting, and I didn't pick up on any of them. And I read this after the fact.
Yeah.
They were doing the voices.
Yep. No, but it's cool because, like you said, you get his story, and because the trailers, you know what's going on, but then they quickly pull back and you see the outside world. And so you almost get like two different versions of this character, because you see his CG, like what the players are seeing. He's more realistic inside the game, but when they're on a screen and they're playing and running around, he's like a cartoon avatar.
But
he's
still,
animated.
it looks like Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
animated. Yeah.
And that's the one thing I will say about Millie's character, Molotov Girl, which they go out of their way to really kind of make her look plasticky in the game. Yes.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I didn't even realize until after the fact that it was the same actress who was playing both characters. Throw a wig on her, I'm fooled.
As a matter of fact, the same actress that appears in the trailer for The Last Duel, which I got before this movie.
Yeah. Jodie Comer.
Yes.
Killing Eve. I think she actually won an Emmy for this.
I've never seen the show, but it's very popular.
Yeah. And she played Rey's mom in one of the flashback scenes of The Last Jedi.
Really?
I think we only saw her arm. I don't remember seeing the face, but apparently that is one of her credits.
But no, you're right. They do make an attempt to make her look very sheeny, plasticky when she's in the game,
right?
And kind of dowdy when she's in the real world, as much as they could.
Right. Yeah, she does get a little.
That's always better. Like a little bit of Hollywood, where they have this model type actress and they try to pass her off as a dowdy kind of computer nerd. Doesn't really happen here, but okay, I'll buy it.
I'll buy it. But we also get Steve from Stranger Things.
Yes.
Who I can't take my eyes off this guy. I don't know why.
I'm missing that ice cream scooper outfit.
I know.
Though.
He wants a little hat on his head at one point. But they realize pretty quickly that this guy character is not, they think it's another player, that somebody has somehow gotten a hold of this skin, and it's a joke. And his name is Keys, and his buddy Mouser go into the game to try and shut this player down.
Now, what's funny is that they create avatars to try to shut him down, because the reason that Guy becomes self-aware is because he sees Molotov, and suddenly that really snaps something inside of him, and he's trying to chase her and talk to her, but she's a sunglass person, so you're not supposed to do this. But he doesn't care.
And a lot of this is spoon-fed to us by his security guard buddy.
Yeah.
Who's played by Lil Rel Howery. And I love this character in this movie.
Oh, yeah. He is so important to the plot. And he provides the teary ending.
We'll get to the ending, because I think it kind of drops the ball in the third act a little bit. So, but I'm going to say this right now. Ryan Reynolds is an American treasure. I was waiting for you to point out the fact that he's Canadian.
I missed that completely. Is he Canadian?
He's
Canadian? Okay.
But I'm going to tell all my Canadian friends right now, It's two ladies, ours now.
I remember him clearly being on that show, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Yes.
And he doesn't seem to have aged since then. And that was the 90s.
He's right there with like Tom Cruise.
In 1 year, he's going to age like 20 years.
Right.
It's going to catch up to him.
Yeah. There are people who do not like him, but
Really?
how could you? Yeah, whatever.
The guy that directed the first Deadpool maybe is the only one I can think of.
I love this guy, and he's just so effervescent and just kind of like matter of fact.
I would say that he is probably the most likable actor working in movies today. I would like to find out that he's a complete and utter jerk in real life. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I know he lives in Manhattan, as I mentioned. Sean Levy uprooted his family out west, and they moved like next door to this guy because they hit it off. When they were filming this, they filmed this whole thing in Boston, by the way, and they would take the Amtrak, the two of them, up from New York to Boston. Imagine getting on a train and there's Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy hashing out plot points for this movie.
I wouldn't think it was real. I'd be like, my mind is playing a trick on me. This cannot be happening.
Maybe it is video games. Maybe we're all in this. And the one person we have not talked yet about is Antoine, who I will say right now is the biggest cartoon in this whole movie.
Yes. Now, he doesn't come into it until about halfway through.
No, they build it up, Antoine, the coming of Antoine. And I completely forgot that he was in this movie.
So did I.
Until he shows up. But the name of this company is called Tsunami, but it's spelled phonetically. Soon.
Tsunami.
Right.
Yeah. Antoine is played by Taika Waititi.
Yes. And he's not a likable character at all.
But he is very funny. He is very funny.
There's a couple cringeworthy jokes that he throws out there. And I think I was the only one in the theater who laughed out loud.
I love the line, "Come on, little Padawan. It's time for you to take your place next to the Emperor."
Yeah. But it's like two different stories going on. Because what you find out is that Keys and Millie were creators of this AI that was bought out by Antoine and somehow stolen or incorporated into this game, and they're trying to prove it. This is why Millie is going into this game as Molotov Girl, is to try and find evidence that their source material is buried in this game.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that big of a secret because their game was called Free Life. He's called his game Free City. And he's using their code as the backbone of Free City. But their code, as you say, has some AI built into it. Now, the character of Keys has created a character, an NPC in Free Life that is searching for someone. It's like a mirror version of himself. And he's basing that romantic longing in the character on Millie, which he is also longing for her.
And she's very oblivious that she never once picks up on.
Now, here's where I was questioning this. If he created the character of Guy, why wouldn't he recognize him?
Right.
Would he have created his physical appearance as well? He would have had to.
Because there's one point where he goes back into the archives of their original games of the characters. And I will say right now, this whole idea of this AI world that supposedly that they were working on was so genius. Isn't that The Sims?
That's what I was going to say. It's like the Sims, yeah.
Which was it's like 20 years old now.
But The Sims with characters that evolve and learn, right? That's, I think, was the difference in Free Life, is that these characters here were supposed to have intelligence of their own. Guy today is yearning for Molotov, but tomorrow he'll be ending the world with a nuclear code. Just give him a couple of years and he'll be Ultron.
Oh, that would have been a better movie.
That's going to be the sequel.
Which was just greenlit, by the way. Ryan Reynolds, I was telling you news on the back end. Ryan Reynolds just announced on Twitter that Disney has greenlit a sequel. It did better than Suicide Squad. As
we talked about in the opening, this was kind of back-ended into a Disney movie. It wasn't originally. It was a Fox movie. But then the acquisition took place, and now it is a Disney movie, which is why we see some of the surprises that we do.
Which is nice
later on.
Because the minute they Reynolds and Levy found out that Disney had bought Fox, that's the first thing they called them up, and they're like, "Hey, can we use X, Y, and Z? And they're like, yes. And they're like, which ones? And they're like, all of them. So I'm surprised that they were very restrained.
So
they
just imagine,
not go nuts.
If they got the permission to use these IPs on the back end, just imagine how much we're going to see in the sequel when they have carte blanche,
So Ralph wrecks the internet. That's basically what this is going to be, the sequel. We're just going to throw every Disney IP out there. And look, you're just going to be that's a freaking Space Jam. Yeah. We're just going to be sit there watching the stuff in the background.
And the first character that's going to get canceled? Deadpool. He's going to be the Pepe Le Pew of Free Guy 2.
That is true. There's no way he can survive. We should just make a movie of all these characters that have been canceled.
It would be like The Expendables, right? It would be a movie like that.
Like all the unwanted characters.
Yes.
The despicable. I think we're onto something there.
Well, I think we are.
Get Disney on the horn.
But this spans IPs, so it's kind of an impossible dream.
Get my agent on the horn. Let's go. Yeah, so she never once picks up on the fact that, because she starts to interact with Guy as Molotov Girl. And they still think it's a player. But, at this point, we're the audience is already kind of figuring out that he is part of this AI that they believe is in the game, and they're trying to get proof on. So they can
exactly. That's why Molotov Girl is going in, because there's a video file that's hidden somewhere. Now, I'm not sure if Antoine hid it. Why wouldn't he destroy it? Why would he hide
destroy it? Because I guess it's gonna be part of the system itself. Like, it has to rely on it. But
this is true. Yeah, because the code is the backbone of the game. So he's hiding this video file, which is the proof that he's stolen their code. And it's in the stash house, as they call it, of this one particular player who has an avatar that looks like Channing Tatum. And they've got it. This is why Molotov is going in the game, and she's playing every day. She's looking around to find it, and she enlists Guy because she thinks he's a player, right? But he's a newbie, as she calls him, because he's only got 1 point to his character.
He's got to level up. So that's a great sequence, by the way, where he figures out, because when she back to They Live, she finally gets him to put the pair of glasses on, and all of a sudden he sees like all the the money buttons or the first aid, the health, and all this other stuff that as a player you see floating around in these games. And so he just goes nuts, and he starts leveling up, and it's a really fun montage.
And she tells him, well, I'm not really into the violence. We'll just help people, just collect stuff.
Be the good guy.
Be the good guy. And that's what he does. And that's how he makes a name for himself in the outside world. He's like disrupting the game, but then becomes a folk hero to the people playing the game.
Yeah, which is really cool. It is so much fun watching this unfold. And it's beautiful to look at, especially when you're in Free City. The stuff that's going on, like I said, you got fighter jets are chasing things around, because there's all these different storylines. There's different characters on different, there's a running joke of the old lady looking for her cat. You want to go on a side quest and help this lady find her cat. Yeah, you do, but no one ever does. And you get the Mariah Carey. If you don't walk out of the theater singing this song, you're dead inside. And I don't like the song, but it's been stuck in my head ever since. But yes, about the time that he comes flying in the motorcycle and he helps her save the day, and they break through, and she's on the motorcycle, and she's just like, "Is that a Glock in your pocket?" And he goes, "No." She's like, "What?" He goes, "It's 2 Glocks." And it's like slow motion. They're going, they're flying through the air. There's glass everywhere, and the music is pumping.
But again, just like, how can she kiss him? How can she feel that? Correct. Because she's just a character.
Yeah, because that is true. Oh, you ruined it for me. Because there's a point where he takes her to where him and Buddy go. He basically dumps Buddy to go hang out with this girl, because he's obviously programmed to like her. But he takes her to the waterfront, and they get bubblegum ice cream. And she's like, "You can taste that?" So yeah, you're right. She doesn't have any in the video game itself. She has no feelings or taste. And what do you say? My tongue fell in love with the sunset. Is that good? That what it tastes like?
Yeah, he was saying very weird things throughout.
Yeah, but he plays this like so innocently and not I don't even know how to explain it, but he's an innocent doofus.
Because at one point, I think Keys, once he realizes that Millie is sweet on Guy, he's like, he's 4 years old.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't ruin it for me. But he's mad because that's really him.
It's Keys that she's actually falling for, not Guy.
I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. Why can't we just have a platonic relationship between a boy and a girl?
I think Molotov should have been Guy's girlfriend in the game. You know, somehow they could have separated reality in the game. You
somehow
know,
she obtains AI status as well.
Yeah, but I think a really interesting aspect is that whole bubblegum ice cream, because they go to this quiet spot in the game where the players don't ever go to.
Right.
So it's more of that evidence of his self-awareness, how he can go somewhere that's not based in this game, not based in any of the humans that are playing it, and have something for himself. And that's what that ice cream stand is.
But wouldn't Buddy also, because you see that he does the same thing every day. He's literally got a routine every day. But they talk about the fact that they always go to the waterfront and they have their ice cream. But if that's not part of Buddy's routine.
Well, all the characters have the ability to evolve, but so I think it's there innately in all the NPCs. But because he sees Molotov, it really kicks into high gear. Because remember that one girl, the bosomy character that I forget what her name is, but he says, "What are you doing?" You know, because she's just hanging on to one of the avatars.
Yes, you can be whatever you want.
And she goes to write a book, and
That's
she doesn't.
right.
She doesn't need Molotov or a similar character to do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I think all these characters have that code, but it's just Guy that kicks it into high gear when he sees Molotov.
So yeah, they basically rebel, all these NPCs.
Yeah, because he gets them all on board at the end, because at one point, and this is where the Wally aspect comes in, Antoine at first wants to capitalize, of course, on Guy's popularity. And he's actually building a character, which is revealed later to debut in Free City 2.
Yeah, that's
based
the
on Guy.
ongoing thing, which is, this makes no sense whatsoever, which is you got a second game coming out, Free City 2, but it's non-compatible, it's non-backwards compatible. So none of the characters that you've established in Free City will carry over. And it's almost like they're going to cancel Free City, and you're going to be forced to buy the second one if you want to play in that world again. And I'm like, that's really poor business sense.
It is, but it's a great plot device, because now they have a countdown to work against in the movie, because Guy and all the other characters are going to be erased once Free City 2 hits.
Yeah. And I guess they've lied to the public that these characters will not carry over. And that was part of what Keys was like, because Keys is, you know, he went to go work for this guy, even though he knows that he stole all of his stuff. And you see it at one point, Antoine pulls him aside and he's like, "Listen, you know, I got a spot for you in my top design cabinet. I know what you're capable of." And he's like, "No, I'm good right here," and like lower security or whatever he was working on.
But it all comes together for Antoine at the end. He realizes that Guy is a character that was from Free Life, that was an AI, and he is trying his best to stop Guy, because it's pretty much Keys working against him in the game with his own mentality. So first they try to reboot the game, which brings all the characters back to square one. And that's where the Wally comes in.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he forgets.
Yeah.
And then Molotov is trying to make him remember, and it takes the kiss, and all of a sudden all this backup data comes rolling back in. And then I was thinking, because at the end, when they find where the Free Life code is hidden, which is past what the normal border of the game is, it's like, I guess there's
Ocean's Edge or whatever.
There's the Ocean's Edge that none of the characters can go past, because that's the end of the game.
Straight up Truman Show.
So
he's got to get beyond the ocean.
They reach the boundary of this fake environment, but that's where Antoine is hidden, the Free Life evidence. So Antoine is trying to destroy the servers before they can get to the Free Life island, which is out there in the middle of the ocean. I'm like, why doesn't he just reboot again? That works.
Right. Just unplug the thing. Don't even reboot it. Just your new game's launching in 2 days anyways. Just pull the plug.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does build up. It racks up the tension.
So here's where we get into spoiler territory. So if you want to be pleasantly surprised by like the biggest spoiler in the movie, stop listening right now. Fast forward about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Why don't you go see the movie and then come back?
Yeah.
Highly
but
recommend.
Just like we said, this is 20th Century Fox is now a Disney property. So this means that they can use whatever they want, with permission, and they got it. So as Guy is fighting Antoine's fabricated Guy character, which he calls Dude, which is like a big jacked up muscle man with Ryan Reynolds' face.
I'm going to give you Aaron Reed is the actor who they played. The guy's monstrous, but they deep faked or superimposed Reynolds' face on this guy, but he's not a complete character. So like he just pound him and he'd be like, catchphrase here. None
of the staff were finished with building the character, and Antoine makes them throw him into the game. And I love the fact that he's got a blue shirt tattoo on one of his pecs.
On his pecs.
So in order to beat him, Guy pulls from some other IP that's out there.
Because he's leveled up.
He's leveled up. As the Dude is about to deliver the death blow, suddenly Guy has a shield on his arm, and the camera pans around to the front of it, and it is Captain America's shield.
And you get that Avengers theme.
And it's almost like a mirror shot of Winter Soldier punching the shield. And suddenly you see Chris Evans in the real world in a coffee shop, because the whole world is watching this take place. And what the... And
you believe so Captain America cursing is genius.
So this is where the audience erupted first when you see the shield, but they went nuts when you see Chris Evans sitting there in the
and then
coffee
he pulls
shop.
a Hulk arm. He pulls a Hulk arm.
Pulls a Hulk arm,
and then all of a sudden he's igniting a lightsaber. And Antoine's like, "Is that a lightsaber?"
And you hear the Star Wars theme when he does that.
Yeah. So about this time, everyone in the theater is like losing their freaking minds because. It is and you wanted a little bit more of it. Because it was a lot of fun. But
and then gamers would, I didn't really get, but apparently after the lightsaber, there's like a little pinata unicorn head. That's from Fortnite.
I did get that as well.
And there's a couple other game references during this fight that happened as well that I wasn't getting. Yeah.
Like we said, even in like the background stuff, I'm surprised we didn't see a Pikachu running around there, especially since he played Pikachu.
Pikachu,
right?
But that's not a Disney IP, right? You can't use that.
That is true.
Well, Fortnite isn't either, but somebody got the rights for that.
Yep. So but this is a lot of fun.
It is. The day is saved at the end, and Antoine gets his just desserts, and Keys and Millie have their happy ending. And then Guy and Buddy have their happy ending, because Guy realizes that his feelings for Molotov/Millie are fabricated, that it's actually Keys' feelings that he's feeling, and he relinquishes her. He lets go. And he is living his life out happily in free life. And Buddy, who dies during the attempt, or is erased during the attempt to get to the island, the evidence, comes back as a character in the free life game. It's actually a very teary death scene. It's almost like the rainbow bridge that is created that goes out into the ocean. And you see Buddy can't follow Guy all the way to the island where the proof is. And then they have a goodbye. That's a really touching scene. So that makes that scene where Buddy reappears that much more poignant, where you see Keys gets the girl, but Guy gets his best friend back. And I thought it was a really nice ending. I thought it really worked.
I could have, I would have been happy with just Keys and Millie maintaining their platonic relationship, or she'd be like, sorry, I don't feel the same way you do.
You can't have that though. You can't have that.
Listen, I would have been happy with just
in the big Hollywood ending.
I don't know. Like I said, why do we always have to have these? Just be friends. So that was the only kind of down thing for me.
But they were never platonic though, because they were, but they weren't. They're touching each other's knees. Oh, you're so cute when you're angry. It's like it's written in the stars. It's written in the stars.
So. It was written in the script. Is what it was. But this free world, a free life, or whatever it is, it's a magical island. There's dragons, there's centaurs,
dinosaurs.
So And I guess all the NPC characters that migrated there are now free will.
Yeah,
So,
all of them.
But if this game is up and running now, am I still an avatar going in here to experience it? How do I get in there?
You must, because it's like the big hit game. So it's not like you're.
So
well,
what
maybe
do you do? But that's where I'm implying that it's like The Sims, whereas what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and build a house and have a family. Is this like Forge of Empires or something where I'm just building?
Or maybe you're following the exploits of one of these characters, but then there's a lot of pressure on that character to do something interesting every day.
That's where the Truman Show, where you just watch them sleep for 6-7 hours.
Or they're just building a community of Ultrons, like I said.
It could be
biding their time.
Oh, guy gone bad. I like
it.
Yeah, interesting. But you're right. With Disney on board now, this is going to just be an IP nightmare. They're going to have way too much fun with it. Did you know that, not to change subject too much, Sean Levy's writing a Broadway version of Night at the Museum?
Really?
Yeah.
Like a musical version?
Apparently, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I just kind of jumped all over that. So I loved it. I absolutely.
Oh, so did I.
Credit. Don't sit through the credits because there's nothing at the end.
And again, you always go to your phone to see, is there an end credit as the movie's ending, right? Because you don't want to spoil anything that's going to happen in the movie. So I always wait until the movie starts to end, and then I look up on the phone. And you got to page through 5 paragraphs.
Oh,
and whoever's writing this knows that all you want to know is there an end credit? But nope, they've got to make you look at 2 ads, read their recap of the entire movie, and then no, there is no.
By the way,
thank you very much.
Yeah, it's clickbait. There was one the other day. I just came across, the internet's losing its mind because there was a poster release for Jungle Cruise, and it was immediately attributed to Drew Struzan, world-renowned class act.
Of course.
Okay, he's retired. He said, I didn't do this. So the article was, internet loses its mind. Who created this? And you go through the entire article and they say, no, Drew Struzan said straight up, this is not mine. They never gave credit to who actually did it.
And that was the title of the article, right?
Yeah, basically. And I'm just like, you wasted my time. Yeah. So 26.4 million opening weekend. Bested Suicide Squad by like 0.2. And of course, but Suicide Squad did have the luxury of being on Disney. So I don't know if those numbers are not Disney on HBO.
HBO Max.
Oh, yeah, those numbers. So there would be there are no numbers attached.
I'm going to go. I really, really liked it. I'm going to go 4 buckets. Free Guy.
I went 4.25.
4.25.
4.25. This is highly recommended.
Yes, it is.
This is a fun family, like you said. This is family. There are a couple curse words, but otherwise, I don't think there's anything offensive in here. Antoine's character is a little offensive in some. It
is very violent, but you realize very early on that it's not real.
Right. It's
quote unquote violence that you're in a video game.
It's Grand Theft Auto violence where, cars are driving down the street on fire, and
more than once the violence is denounced. So it's not like it's glorified or anything like that.
Yeah. Outside of like the trailer, and I know this thing was supposed to be released like a year ago and promotions are out there. I really haven't seen too much in the way of the promotions or the ads or the trailers. But as I'm sitting in my theater, I have my ticket and I'm sitting there, and Regal runs this newbie up front, like 20 minutes. And they did like a 10-minute commercial on this thing. And they're showing me stuff that I'm going to see in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this to me? The whole Keys character, when they go into the game, the first time they're trying to get a hold of guy, and his buddy chooses an avatar, which is a giant pink rabbit. Yeah. It's pretty funny and it's great to watch. And that definitely, there's a lot of video game stuff going on there. But I would have liked to have just seen that in the moment and not beforehand.
But why wasn't it a mouse? Is my question.
Because his name is Mouser?
Yeah.
A little too on the nose? I don't know.
They're not. I don't think anybody's worried about being on the nose when it comes to this movie.
I don't know. So, but speaking of on the nose, as you mentioned, our paired up movie is a little on the nose.
On the nose.
But They Live would have been perfect.
It's on the nose and in the belly button. Oh, I still cringe at that scene.
Yeah, there's a couple cringeworthy scenes in this.
The Matrix.
Does it hold up?
Does it hold up? We will find out when we come back from the concession stand.
Some bubblegum ice cream, my friend?
Bubblegum ice cream. That would be wonderful.
All right, we're out.
All right, let's go.
This drive-in theater is radioactive. Now you can hear tonight's show on your AM car radio. Turn your ignition key to the accessory position. This will not drain your car battery. Now turn on your radio and zero in on the following AM station.
Men, there's a drive-in movie full of juicy people. Wow! It's a trap! Help! It's Pick! We've had it, men.
A pleasant aroma for you, but not for mosquitoes. Pick is easy to use. Light it and forget it. Pick's aroma keeps mosquitoes, gnats, and sandflies away. Pick is the best protection for barbecues, fishing and camping trips, or just relaxing in the yard.
So if you don't want our company ever anywhere, just light Pick and see what I mean? Bye!
Pick is on sale at the refreshment stand now.
Okay, we're back and we are talking The Matrix, 1999, the cusp of Y2K.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we were going to survive.
No.
Did you stock up on plywood and duct tape?
I did have plenty of water in the closet.
Did you?
I will tell you that.
I stocked up on 3M stocks. No, I did not. We were afraid like planes were going to fall out of the sky. It really was like no man's land. It was like, what could happen here? That was a lot. That was some hype. It was crazy. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Y2K was the fact that our calendar was going over to the year 2000, and they believed that none of the computers would actually be able to compute it.
They wouldn't be able to handle it. The changeover from 19 to 2000. So, but they did very well. So there was all for naught, all this worry.
Yet another government conspiracy. All right. I'm going to say this right now. We watched this on HBO Max, correct? Is that where you watched it?
Correct.
Okay. All right. It is in 4K, and it was very impressive. And one of the things we speculated last week was if they were going to change the credits from the Wachowski brothers to the Wachowskis, who are now Lana and Lily. It still says Wachowski brothers, but we're just going to refer to them as the Wachowskis.
Yeah,
we're gonna give them their respect.
Respect.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to put this in the Pulp Fiction category of a movie that I had absolutely no idea what you were in for. When I sat down in the theater, I had no clue what you were about to experience.
I remember seeing this on the back end when it came to the $3 theater.
Oh,
so I wasn't there on opening night. So it was more of an issue of, okay, let's go see what everybody's talking about.
Because this was one of the first movies too that actually had a website devoted to it. That which what is the Matrix?
Yeah,
and I think that the trailers and the promotion for this really kind of made you go, what the hell is this? Going
back to the time period that it came out in again, an even more pressing matter than Y2K was the release of episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that same year, and how it suffered in comparison to this movie.
Well, this was good. Here's the other thing I'm going to say about this movie right now. It is so hard to watch this movie now and not get trapped in the multiple movies and TV shows that spoofed and ripped this off.
Now, it's funny that you say that because I think it loses some luster because of its sequels.
Yeah. Well, I try not to think about the sequels, but we just watched Space Jam 2 or A New Legacy or whatever. And you got Granny pulling a bullet time in the air Trinity move from a 20-year-old movie. You can't watch this now and be like, that's cool. Now you're like, oh yeah, remember that when they did it with Granny?
Yeah,
everybody pulled that. Once they figured out how to do it, everybody did it.
Remember, almost immediately, you saw it in Shrek with Princess Fiona.
Oh,
I think even more, she did it more famously than Carrie-Anne Moss did it in The Matrix.
Yeah, in the bullet time stuff, again, revolutionary. This movie, I'm sitting in the theater in the first 20 minutes. I'm like, why is everything green? Like, it's so obvious that everything has a green hue to it.
You know how stupid I am. I didn't notice that until this viewing, that there is green going on almost in every shot when they're
it's very obvious. And I can't say enough about the Wachowskis as a creative entity, because, you know, we talk about Speed Racer. We've never talked about Cloud Atlas, but I think that movie is just friggin' brilliant. I mean, it's monstrous. It's 3 hours long, but the ideas behind this, these guys are they're just willing to put this stuff out there.
Yeah.
And this was just revolutionary.
High concept to say the least.
And to put Keanu Reeves, well, I guess he'd come off Speed. Right? Was that 96? Which
is nuts, is that he is so tied to this role now. He's like the fifth, sixth choice from what I was reading about this film. Will Smith was the number one choice to play Neo.
Yeah, it wouldn't have.
It would have been obviously
movie.
Completely different movie.
Yeah. It is so ahead of its time. But again, watching it this time, you can't help but just think of all the times it's been spoofed.
Yeah.
And it is such a pop culture moment that has just been, you know, it's right up there with the object appears closer than it seems, the mirror shot in Jurassic Park that everyone rips off.
Yeah.
You know, but that's one little scene. That's not the entire movie. So let's get into it. If you haven't seen this movie, it is on HBO Max.
This was released on the cusp of DVD really taking hold and popularity.
This might have been one of the first movies I ever watched at someone else's house on DVD.
This was one of those movies, just like the 1989 Batman when that came out on VHS. Regardless of how you felt about that movie, you felt like you needed to own it.
Yeah.
So this was that movie for DVD, I think, The Matrix.
Yeah.
It probably caused a lot of people to buy DVD players. I'll put it that way. But yeah, it opens with, and this is also one of those movies where you can pick up on things after you've seen it multiple times. Like you have that dialogue in the background once the movie opens. You like watching them, and you realize later it's the Nebuchadnezzar crew that are keeping tabs on Neo.
Yeah. But you immediately get the quintessential little codes coming down in the green.
Yep.
And you get that AOL dial-up noise. I'm like, that's a little
remember
dated.
That.
That is definitely dated, but I think that adds to the charm a little bit. And this is where we're introduced to Trinity.
Yeah.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
In a seedy hotel.
You gotta go in the corners. Now that not every video game has a ice cream stand next to the lake.
Because that's basically what this is.
Yeah.
Is Free City, is the Matrix, just like in the Free Guy. Nobody's aware of it.
Nobody's aware of it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way it should be? I mean, I hate to say it, and I'm gonna just lay it out there right now, which is I so would have just pulled a cyber. I would have done the same thing. Just put me back in.
Put me back in.
Put me back in. Reality sucks.
I don't want to live in this garbage ship anymore.
No. What? You save me for this?
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude. You know what? I don't care that the computer is telling me that this steak tastes good. I enjoy it. Just ignorance is bliss, he says. Although I wouldn't have screwed my friends, but I guess they're not really his friends.
I don't think that we need to warn anybody that spoilers are coming up. Come on. If you haven't seen The Matrix, you shouldn't be listening to this show.
That is true.
Keanu Reeves' character of Neo lives in the Matrix, in his reality.
His name is Thomas Anderson. Neo is his.
And I love that. Anybody with the last name Anderson, I want to say Mr. Anderson.
And you got to give it to Hugo Weaving, because this character is so stoic. Like, how would you describe this character? But he is just awesome. Stilted. He's got like this righteous, stilted delivery, but he's menacing as all hell.
He's menacing. And so he is robotic. Obviously, he's a construct, but he's also becoming self-aware as well. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He lets go at one point, a little bit later in the movie. He doesn't want to be an agent anymore and deal with this. So he wants a better life himself.
He wants to go live with dinosaurs and centaurs.
Yes, who wouldn't?
Oh man, Neo in Free Life.
Oh, that would be awesome. If that was the Matrix 4 was also Free Guy 2.
Oh, make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, apparently they send up all these police officers to take out Trinity. Yeah, and then this was a great because immediately you're told that this chick is badass because he's like, oh, don't worry, I sent up 2 units. And the guy's like, oh, your men are dead already, you know. And then she just unloads. Yeah, and I can't help. And again, this character has come up on a previous episode in which Christina points out that Trinity is super badass until Neo comes along, and then she just becomes a cheerleader. Now she's just like, oh, Neo, you're the one. And it's so obvious when you watch it again. Because we see her up front and she's literally kicking ass. She's doing what she's got to do.
Yeah, she is out of there. She's the star of this team at this point.
Yeah. This is not this whole jumping in the air and the camera spins around 360. It was revolutionary then. It's such a given now. I mean, you can go into a mall and have some, jump in the air and somebody can take your picture doing this. And it's just static cameras. It's just, 360 with probably 40 or 50 cameras, whatever, all shooting you simultaneously. And then they just rotate it.
They paint Trinity and her team as like cyber terrorists, hackers that have to be stopped. So the agents show up whenever these hackers appear in the Matrix. Simultaneously, Reeves's character of Mr. Anderson works for a software company, but he's also a hacker in his own right, selling. I don't know what exactly.
Which is
he's
funny
selling
because the company is called Metacortex, so that's a little meta right there. What is that like? Simulation of the brain. So it's a little bit of a giveaway.
But he's seeing weird things happening in his life that are planted by who we find out later to be Morpheus and, of course, Trinity. Whoever he's selling secrets to or software to, he follows them out to a nightclub.
Right. Follow the
white rabbit. And it's like
he gets a note for right.
Why all these mysterious? Just tell him,
Correct.
Don't beat around the bush like in any movie.
I mean, we see the fact that Agent Smith can morph into these other, he can take over these other characters. So I don't know if they're afraid if they say too much that he'll show up. I don't know. But I did like the fact that his room was 101, which is like binary. Everything's got this green tint to it, this green hue, especially when he's in the office building. And you're just like, what is like? It's a little off-putting, but it's there for a reason.
And I love the scene. Probably my favorite scene in the movie is when Morpheus is talking to him on the cell phone and he's in his cubicle. He's like, they're coming for you now. Yeah. Get out. Keep low to the ground.
This to me harkens to when Bill and Ted were trying to escape from his dad to get to the high school in time for their presentation. He's like, dude, your dad's coming. Duck. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, go to the left.
So the agents capture Neo, right? Yeah. And they are looking for Morpheus, they say, who is like a super terrorist. This is the bug scene, which still freaks me out to this day. Robo-Bug. First of all, they do a Twilight Zone, the movie, where they take away Neo's mouth.
Right, because he's like, I know my rights. Where's my phone call? He goes, what good's a phone call if you don't have a mouth? And all of a sudden he's like, and he's like gummy getting open his mouth. It was pretty grisly. But yeah, the Robo-Bug in the belly button is just a little much.
Yes. And then he wakes up like it was all a dream, but it was not. Yeah. There is something in there.
Did you ever stick your finger in your belly button? That hurts. I can't imagine a bug going in there.
Burrowing in?
I'm getting squeamish already. Then somebody comes to save him.
Then we meet Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus.
Yeah, I do like the fact that one girl refers to him as Copper Top, which is a funny Duracell battery joke, because that's basically what we find out the humans are being used for.
And there's multiple references, as we said, to Alice, Wizard of Oz. Yeah. So they are nodding to their.
Yeah, and Morpheus is like the Matrix. It's all around us. It binds us. It penetrates us. I'm like, so it's the Force. Yeah. Red pill, blue pill. Where would you go?
Does anybody ever take the blue pill? And I'll take the blue pill. I really didn't mean that. You can't take the blue pill.
Right, you can't.
You got to take the red pill.
No, they're both red. I just call them both.
No one can be told what the Matrix is. It's not that difficult to explain the Matrix.
Would you just like lose your mind?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it doesn't exist. What? Yeah, no, we can only show you where reality is much more hideous.
Oh, this is such a great scene in itself as well. When he wakes up in his pod.
Yeah, he's pulling the hoses out of him.
But they do explain as he, escapes and he pulls all of these lines out of him and he falls into the sewer and they pick him up, that his muscles have atrophied. And if that's the case, he wouldn't even be able to move in the pod.
No,
he couldn't even get out of the pod.
Right. How are they making these babies, by the way, the Matrix?
That is also a question I had.
Because if you're using human bodies, if you've taken over the earth and you're using human bodies as batteries, it's like, what's the point of creating the Matrix, though?
Why keep them happy?
Why keep
you don't need to.
Why just use them as batteries? I don't care about my batteries. When they're done, I throw them in the garbage, even though you're not supposed to. You're supposed to recycle them. Recycle your batteries, kids. But you create this construct where your batteries have what they feel is free will. I don't know.
Well, you do have the character of Morpheus who has rebelled. And you have the character of Cypher who doesn't want. He knows what the reality is, and yet he prefers the Matrix. So maybe
like I said, once they pull Neo out and you're introduced to this crew and they're in a stupid little ship, the Nebuchadnezzar, and they're constantly being chased by these squiddies, these octopus robots.
So where are they flying? They're in the sewer? Is that where they're?
It's I guess, but there's Zion. There's a whole city of free people that we don't meet until the sequel, and it's just like a giant rave, which is like, this is what you're doing? You freed yourself from the computer just so you can dance? I could do that.
And oil themselves up, apparently, as well.
Yeah, well, it's been a while since I've seen that. But, the little baby in Ally McBeal danced. He was just a computer. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your life behind. If your friends don't dance.
They're no friends of mine.
No.
You ain't getting into Zion if you don't dance.
That's right. It's a beautiful construct and idea, but like it doesn't make any, like, who created the Matrix? This computer. And what are the batteries being used for?
Like anything else, you can't really hold too much of a candle to it, or it's going to show.
That's the job of the screenwriter.
Yeah, is
to make sense of this. Now, don't get me wrong. The movie is great. And you were invested in Neo. You're invested in this world. And again, you are seeing things that you had never seen before. Unless you're like, we're weaned on, some of these old school Chinese and Japanese martial arts movies where they're employing wire work, where these guys are literally flying through the air and they're karate chopping people and kicking them. We've never really seen anything like this. So that training exercise between Morpheus and Neo, when he uploads kung fu to him, and all of a sudden he picks it up and they're karate chopping and they're flying through the air and they're kicking each other. Like, this is stuff you're like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Big Hero 6 stole hook, line, and sinker.
Just upload it to you.
Just upload it. That's all you need to do.
I do have a note here that says it must suck to be the chosen one. That's a lot. That's a lot right now. How many other guys did they pull out that they're like, you're the chosen one? You're like, yeah, I'm not the chosen one.
Well, that was the brilliance of the Oracle, to tell him that he wasn't. So that's what he needed to hear, is that he wasn't.
Everybody he's not. And it's
the
like,
pressure was off. The pressure was off at that point.
Yeah.
So why can't you grow hair and eyebrows in the cocoon?
I don't know.
Why do you have to be out of the cocoon to grow hair and eyebrows?
I think that would clog up the system.
Maybe.
I don't know. You're probably not pooping either. Right?
Maybe that's part of their power supply, though. Maybe you need to. They don't waste a thing in the cocoon.
True. No pun intended. Waste. And so this is where we get the whoa that has become so synonymous with Keanu Reeves.
But
did he do it first and Bill?
It existed before this, so I think he brought it. He did it.
Brought it with him. Do that thing. I can see the Wachowskis right now. They're like, do that thing. Do that thing you do. There it is.
But yeah, the backstory is that mankind created AI, race of machines, Terminator-esque.
Terminator.
And then they got a little bit too big for their britches. So mankind attempted to blot out the sun to cut their power supply. But no, you're going to do that. We can use you as our power supply. So that's where they are at this point in time. And what year did he say it was? 2199?
Yeah, 20. It was something like that. Yeah, best we can guess. You're free now to eat garbage. No more steak for you.
No more steak for you.
Yeah, I did like it when he does go see the Oracle, that the kids in the room are watching Night of the Lepus.
Yes, Night of the Lepus.
Giant
Follow the rabbit. Follow the rabbit. Are these kids also the chosen one? Are they all being groomed to be the chosen ones in this waiting room?
I would think you wake up enough people, one of them has to be the chosen one.
Because they all can manipulate the Matrix, and that was his whole thing. The chosen one can do whatever he wants in the Matrix, right? And they all look like they're doing whatever they want.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trinity was doing a pretty good job all by herself there. And I actually wrote a note that they never actually showed them being transported through the phone lines, and then they showed it. And I'm like, oh, I guess I was wrong.
Yep.
Because that's how they get in and out, is through a phone line.
It's through a phone,
landline.
Yes. Yep.
So 200 years in the future, we still have to use landlines. There's not a single person now that has a landline. We'd be screwed.
And apparently it's like Get Smart. Like the bottom drops out from the phone booth and down into the sewer they go, the Nebuchadnezzar, right? So a part of the charm of the Matrix are these training sessions that Neo goes through. There's the karate fight, and then they download the jump program into him. If you can do the jump program, why not do the fly program? What's stopping you from doing
his
that?
Mind. He's got to free his mind.
But how can you jump like the Hulk and not fly?
You gotta just, I don't know, practice, I guess. You gotta get away from the fact that you really have no limitations. Listen, if I took you on the top of the roof right now and told you to jump, you ain't jumping. What if we're all in the Matrix right now? What if this is all one big friggin' hologram?
Oh, don't say that. Somebody's gonna jump off the roof out there.
This is what I chose to do with my computer world. Yeah. Sit around mowing the lawn and making movie recordings on the weekends.
If you die in the Matrix, you do die in the real world. True. Body can't live without the mind, as they put it.
To that I say, whoa.
And we find out that the agents are gatekeepers, which we kind of figured out on our own anyway.
But until these people started rebelling, what was there to gatekeep? Like, who was the first one? Did they talk about the architect in this? Or did we find out about the architect in this second one?
No, they do say in this, when the Matrix was first built, there was a man born inside it. He was able to change it to whatever he wanted, to remake the Matrix as he saw it. And he freed the first one. So is that the architect?
I would have to be.
But that's all you're given in this.
But weren't they all born in the Matrix? I don't understand.
But he died. And then the Oracle has always prophesized his return. So is that Neo?
It's getting a little too metaphysical for me here. But yeah, apparently humans are a disease. We're a virus, we're a plague, which is pretty evident now compared to what's all going on.
Absolutely. Not a surprise.
No, the Earth is just a giant. Listen, we don't even need computers and AI to take us out. Earth is just a giant dog. Eventually, you got to shake off some fleas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hang on. Was it getting to the Oracle that they had to go through the lobby? No, that was when they're trying to rescue Morpheus. Because he goes, he meets the Oracle. She's in like this dumpy little apartment, and she offers him cookies and lays some sage advice, which is, nope, sorry, you're not the one. And so he leaves. He's like, all right, cool. I'm not the one. Like you said, pressure off, right?
But of course he is the one.
Shh, don't tell him that.
Don't tell him that, though. And at the same time, as we've brought up a couple of points already, Cypher sells them out.
Yep.
Joe Pantoliano.
Yes.
And apparently his nickname is Joey Pants. If you've got to tell people to call you a nickname, I'm sorry, that's not a real nickname.
Wasn't he one of the Fratelli brothers in Goonies?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
There you go. Yeah.
Cypher sells them out.
Yeah. We also had Tank, Dozer, Mouse, and Switch. So we've got all these crazy nicknames. He could have just used Joey Pants. That would have been his name. So are these all people that they brought out of the Matrix? Like they freed Neo because they think he's the chosen one. But like, why were these other people freed? Because of their cool nicknames? Because of their skill sets?
Or
that guy knows how to fly a ship.
Maybe because they somehow became self-aware in the Matrix.
Could be.
And they were chosen, not the chosen ones, but they were chosen to be awakened. I don't know.
Yeah, when some guy just shows up. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, they rats him out. Morpheus gets captured. Now you got to go save Morpheus.
But as they're doing that, Cypher is unplugging them back in the Nebuchadnezzar. So he is like down and dirty. He doesn't want to go back.
Like I said, I would gladly go back in ignorance is bliss, but I'm not screwing my friends in the process.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Yeah. Anyway, so, but we get this really nice set piece, which is the lobby gun battle. You want to talk about bullet casings flying? Although that scene in the elevator shaft is probably about the fakest thing I've seen. Where the elevator and they go,
Mm-hmm.
Everything else in this pretty spotless.
And this is where we get the reveal that Agent Smith. I hate this place. Your stink, the stink of humanity. Once Zion is destroyed, he's done. He doesn't want to do this agent thing.
Where's
anymore.
He going to go?
I guess you wouldn't need him once Zion is destroyed anymore. You wouldn't need agents
some point,
anymore.
Someone else is going to break free.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're gonna put these people in a fake reality, don't make them go to the office every day. Put them on a friggin' beach. Make life glorious that you would never want to leave it. Give me a big fat juicy steak every day. I don't know. Well, we do get the bullet time. Here's my problem with the bullet time. Just shoot him in the leg. His legs aren't moving. He's bending backwards. He's bending backwards. Just shoot him in the kneecap. Done. Still cool to look at though.
Credit has got to be given where it's due that this was just groundbreaking when it was released.
No, this is, like I said, this is unlike anything we had seen before.
No. There's two battles that showdowns that Neo has with Agent Smith. He gets shot the first time and you think he's dead, but like we talked about during Free Guy, he gets the magic kiss from Trinity, which brings him back. And now he is the one. The kiss has also awakened something else in him. And this is great where he's just like, he could be reading the newspaper and fighting Agent Smith at the same time, right? Yeah. And that's basically what he's doing. He's one-handed fighting him with one hand behind his back. And then he finally destroys him by going inside of him and destroying him from the inside, which is a pretty cool scene.
That is pretty cool. And then to top it off, he steals his sunglasses.
Yep.
Like that's hardcore.
By the end, when he's fully come into himself, that you hear the voiceover, I'm going to show them a world without rules or boundaries where anything is possible. And again, apparently what's possible is an underground rave in Matrix 2.
But he can fly with a trench coat.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. It's a great way to end a movie, though.
Yeah, it is. It
is.
I would have been really happy if they never made any sequels. If this was just a standalone.
Yes. Well, I think it was such a monster hit as a studio. You're like, make more of these.
But of course, I think it was in the cards for them, right? They always were going to make a sequel.
Is that true? I don't know if that was necessarily
because it was begging, because you never see Zion, right? You never really find out who the architect is.
You do set up all these other ideas.
But again, even so, like you leave them wanting more, right? Rather than give them something that they don't really want, which was my case with the sequels. I didn't like 2 or 3.
No, this is like a band coming out, and you just got a hit album on your hand. Every song is a hit. And you're like, the studio's like, you got to make another one. You can't wait 5 years. You got to give me something now.
Yeah.
Okay. And it didn't.
But the problem is that the charm, the strength of the Matrix for me was not the world building, but the basic story of like your Luke Skywalker coming into himself, learning the Force. That's the power of the Matrix, is Neo, realizing that there's this world out here and he has power to change it. And that's taken away in the sequels. You no longer have that aspect.
No, well, you made him too powerful.
Yeah. It's
like Superman. What do you do with Superman who can kill anybody? So, anyways, I mean, you talk about the helicopter scene and,
all that stuff going on.
It really is much. And it does hold up visually. Like I said, there's one little scene in the elevator that's like, it's such rear screen. It's ridiculous. But everything else is just cutting edge. And it swept every nomination that it was awarded or nominated for in the Academy Awards. It won.
Special effects.
Yeah. You go back and you watch Phantom Menace now, and it's so like some of those effects are so cartoons, it's so CG heavy. And this, you never really get the sense of it being CG. It is practical. These guys are on wires. They're really kicking each other. Yeah, the scene, where they're in, the training program and all the gun racks come flying in or whatever. But it just holds up. It's nice. Visually, it's very impressive.
Like you said, it was a huge hit. It was released March 31st of 1999, made on a 63 million budget. It made back 465 million. So mega hit for Warner Brothers. Like we said, Will Smith was first approached and he declined. Nicolas Cage declined Neo. Imagine that movie. That would have been insane.
The guy hasn't said no to anything since.
Yeah, he says yes to too many things, I think, these days. Brad Pitt and Val Kilmer declined. Leonardo DiCaprio turned it down. So
and that's interesting because then he goes on to interesting. All right.
Because he said, I read something where he didn't want to do another effects heavy movie coming off of Titanic.
Meh.
So Reeves, it was down in the end to Reeves and Johnny Depp. And apparently the Wachowskis wanted Depp and Warner's was going for Reeves. So it ended up being Reeves. But, just like anything that you're used to, I can't picture any other actor in this.
Yeah. I do know for a fact that, rumors have been out there for a long time that Sean Connery notoriously turned this down because he didn't understand it. And it's always been told that it was for the role of Morpheus, but I read that is not the case. He was offered the role of the architect in the sequels, and he turned that down. It wasn't Morpheus; it was the architect.
Good. I'm glad he turned it down.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want him to be in the sequels.
Do you remember who did play the architect?
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, you really can't say enough things about this technically. You
know what's insane? I read that Reeves had spinal surgery before he started filming this.
That's crazy.
And that the reason that in his scenes he doesn't do a lot of kicks is because he couldn't.
He couldn't. If you lift me up on a wire and I just do my little pitter patter with my feet, like I'm doggy paddling.
Yeah. All he needed to do was the Christopher Reeve Superman 2 kick. That would have been fine. He didn't even go past his other knee with that kick.
I did not write buckets down for this.
I'm torn with buckets.
Yeah,
I agree that this is, a watershed moment for sci-fi. It's one of the hallmarks of 90s cinema. But it still, at the same time, to a certain extent, leaves me cold. I don't love this movie. I like it a great deal, but I do not love The Matrix. So I am going to go with 3.5 buckets.
I kind of agree with you on that, but I think from the technical, I got to at least a 4. I got to at least give it a 4.
Because I'm going to have to say that I did enjoy watching Free Guy better than I enjoyed watching The Matrix. It's a completely
different movie.
It is, but if I had the choice, I'd watch Free Guy again before I watched The Matrix again.
Yeah, even though The Matrix is free and you'd have to pay for Free Guy.
Yeah, I think so. I
agree. So there you go. Free Guy.
Free Guy. Go see it.
we are Team Free Guy this week.
We are.
It is. A matter of fact, I think as soon as I got home, my son was sleeping in bed and I just opened up the door and I'm like, Free Guy, go see it. Loved it. So do we need to tell anybody what we're doing next week?
Well, next week we're doing another 5 bucket episode. 5 bucket. And this is the 50th anniversary year of this particular film.
That's great.
This is such a key point in time in my cinematic growth as a child. I loved this movie so much as a kid, and I love the fact that we're inducting it into the 5 bucket list.
Because it's a kid's movie, but it's a disturbing kid's movie.
Yes.
They don't sugarcoat it by any means.
And if you don't know already what we're talking about, what we're inducting next week is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So we're not talking the Johnny Depp version.
Well, that's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's not Willy Wonka. Anyway.
That's not Willy Wonka at all. We're talking Gene Wilder.
Yes.
The originator.
Oh, I finally get a chance to share my picture with me and Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
And my signed Young Frankenstein picture.
Can't wait to talk this movie.
Cool.
Can't wait.
Yep. So there you go. That's what we got to look forward to.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Well, another week down.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
To 200.
Almost there. Almost there.
Ticking away here. It's crazy. Jim, is that a Glock in your pocket?
It's 2 Glocks, actually.
Oh.
How did you know that? We're not even in the same room.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. If you liked the podcast you just heard, then please follow TMI on all of our social media outlets. First and foremost, email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com. That is tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at TMI_podcast2018. Stop over, say hi, give us a compliment. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well, which is also TMI_podcast2018.
And of course, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/TMI Podcast 2018. And it should be noted, we also have a community page, so join the forum.
And if you like to watch YouTube, you can see us at TMI Podcast 2018, all one word. Look for the popcorn bucket.
Popcorn bucket. Or you could just go to our website, which has every link there, TMIConfessionalspodcast.com. And we'll see you at the concession stand.
We'll save some popcorn for you.
Mr. Anderson.